What if the reason you still feel stuck isn't because you're not working hard enough, but because you're talking too much about the life you want instead of quietly building it? What if every time you explain your plans, defend your choices, or react instantly, you're actually draining the very energy you need to succeed? In the next few minutes, you're going to discover a habit so simple that most people ignore, but powerful enough to completely change how you think, how you act, and how people respond to you. And once you understand it, you'll start seeing exactly where you've been giving your power away. If you're ready to take your focus back and stop letting noise control your life, type "I choose silence" in the comments right now. Not for me, but as a signal to yourself that something is about to change. Now, listen closely. Let's be honest about what your days actually look like. You wake up, and before your mind even settles, your hand reaches for your phone. Notifications, messages, news, opinions, someone else's success, someone else's drama. Before your feet hit the ground, your attention is already gone. You scroll. You react. You absorb. And without realizing it, the most important part of your day has already been spent on things that don't move your life forward. Then the day begins. You try to focus, but something always pulls you away. A message pops up. A colleague interrupts. A notification breaks your flow. You start one task, then jump to another, then another, and by the end of the day, you've been busy the entire time, but nothing meaningful has really moved. And then there's something most people don't even notice. The talking. You talk about your plans before they even begin. You explain your goals to people who don't understand them. You defend your decisions to people who were never going to support you anyway. You share your struggles hoping someone will validate you, hoping someone will tell you you're doing the right thing. But here's the truth most people avoid hearing. Every time you speak too soon, you weaken your own momentum. Every time you explain yourself unnecessarily, you give away authority. Every time you look outside for validation, you slowly disconnect from your own direction. You're not just talking. You're leaking energy. And over time, that leak becomes your lifestyle. You wake up reacting, you move through the day reacting, you go to bed mentally exhausted, wondering why you're not making real progress. And deep down, you already feel it. That quiet frustration. That sense that you're doing a lot, but not moving forward. That feeling that something is off, but you can't quite name it. Here's what it is. You've been living outside yourself. Let that sink in. Living outside yourself means your thoughts, your actions, your emotions, are constantly influenced by everything happening around you. Other people's opinions, external events, random distractions. Instead of directing your life, you're responding to it. And that's where your power slips away. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. But think about it. How often do you actually live like that? Most people don't. Most people spend their entire lives reacting. They chase what others are chasing. They speak because others are speaking. They seek approval from people who won't even remember them in a week. And the painful part is, they have potential. Real potential. But it stays scattered, unfocused, unused. Not because they're incapable, but because they never learn to control where their attention goes, and when their words should stay unspoken. So instead of building, they broadcast. Instead of thinking, they react. Instead of focusing, they scatter. And years pass like that. You don't want that. If you're still here right now, listening, it means something inside you is already tired of that cycle. You're tired of the noise. You're tired of feeling pulled in different directions. You're tired of giving your energy to things that don't give anything back. You want clarity. You want control. You want to feel like your life is actually yours again. And here's the shift most people never make. You don't need more motivation. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to announce anything to anyone. You need one habit. One quiet, almost invisible habit that changes everything. And it's this. Focus on yourself and stay silent. Not silent because you have nothing to say, but silent because you understand the value of your energy. Because once you truly understand this, everything begins to shift. And the next thing, I'm going to break down exactly what this habit looks like, how to practice it in your daily life, and why it's far more powerful than anything loud, flashy, or attention-seeking. Listen carefully, because this is where everything starts to change. So what does it really mean to focus on yourself and stay silent? Because on the surface, it sounds simple. But in practice, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever train yourself to do. Let's slow this down and make it clear. Focusing on yourself means bringing your attention back to the only things you truly control. Your thoughts. Your actions. Your responses. Your effort. Not the outcome. Not what people think about you. Not the opinions, the trends, the noise, or the endless distractions competing for your attention. Just you. And staying silent. That doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It doesn't mean you never speak. It means you become intentional with your words. You stop speaking just to be seen. You stop explaining just to be accepted. You stop reacting just because something triggered you. You begin to hold your energy, instead of constantly releasing it. And that's where most people fail. Because the urge to react is strong. The urge to explain yourself is strong. The urge to prove something is strong. But every time you give in to that urge, you lose a piece of your focus. And every time you resist it, you gain control. Now here's where it gets deeper. This habit has two sides. And if you miss one, it doesn't work. The first side is internal. The second side is external. Let's start with the internal, because this is where everything begins. Internally, focusing on yourself means asking better questions. Not, what do they think about me? But, what do I think about this? Not, how do I look to others? But, am I moving in the right direction? Not, why is this happening to me? But, what can I control right now? This shift seems small, but it changes everything. Because instead of your mind chasing the world stops controlling your mind. Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And most people hear that, but they don't live it. They still react instantly. They still let emotions lead them. They still let external situations decide their internal state. But when you focus on yourself, you pause. You observe. You choose your response, instead of being controlled by it. And that pause, that moment of silence, is where your power lives. Now let's talk about the second side, the external. Because this is where your behavior starts to change. And I want you to notice these moments in your own life. The first moment. When you're about to announce something. A new goal. A new idea. A new plan. There's this urge to tell someone. To post it. To get validation. To feel seen. But here's what most people don't realize. The moment you announce it, you release the pressure that should have driven you to act. You feel like you've already done something, even when you haven't. And that's why so many people talk, but never execute. So instead, you stay silent. You let your actions speak later. Not your words now. The second moment. When someone questions you, or criticizes you, or misunderstands you, your instinct is to defend yourself immediately. To explain. To prove them wrong. To win the moment. But ask yourself, Do they really need an explanation? Or are you just trying to protect your ego? Because most of the time, the explanation isn't necessary. And every unnecessary explanation costs you energy. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." In other words, pause. Don't react instantly. Let the moment pass through you, instead of pulling you into it. Because not every battle deserves your attention. And the more you learn to stay silent in those moments, the stronger you become. Now the third moment. And this one is subtle, but powerful. When something happens around you, drama, chaos, bad news, something that usually pulls you in. Most people react immediately. They comment. They engage. They get emotionally involved. But you choose something different. You observe. You step back. You ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, you let it go. If it is, you act calmly. Not emotionally. This is what it means to move with control instead of reaction. And it sounds simple, but in a world designed to keep you reacting, it's rare. Because everything around you is built to break your focus. Social media wants you to speak constantly. The world rewards noise. People expect immediate responses. You're trained to always be available, always be reacting, always be explaining. But here's what no one tells you. Every time you react instantly, you weaken your discipline. Every time you speak without thinking, you dilute your impact. Every time you look outside before looking within, you lose direction. And slowly, without realizing it, you become dependent on the world to tell you how to feel, what to do, and who to be. That's why this habit is so powerful. Because it cuts through all of that. It brings you back to yourself. And once you start practicing it, something changes. You start noticing things you never saw before. You see how often people speak just to fill silence. You see how often reactions are driven by emotion, not thought. You see how much noise is actually meaningless. And most importantly, you start hearing your own thoughts clearly again. And that clarity is where real progress begins. Now let's bring this into your real life, because this is where everything either changes, or stays exactly the same. It's one thing to understand the idea. It's another thing to live it. So I want you to imagine a normal day, your day, but this time, you move differently. You wake up in the morning. Same room. Same phone. Same notifications waiting. But this time, you don't reach for it. You sit there, for just a few minutes, in silence. No input. No scrolling. No noise. Just you. At first, it feels uncomfortable. Your mind wants stimulation. It wants distraction. But you stay. And in that silence, you ask yourself 3 simple questions. What actually matters today? What is within my control? What is one thing I can move forward? That's it. Not 10 things. Not everything. Just one. And right there, you've already done something most people never do. You've taken control of your attention, before the world takes it from you. Now you move into your day. At work. Or school, or wherever your time is spent. The same distractions show up. Messages. Interruptions. People pulling you into conversations that don't really matter. Before, you would have engaged in everything. Responded to everything. Explained yourself to everyone. But now, you pause. You don't react instantly. You decide what deserves your attention. And most of it doesn't. So you stay focused. Not perfectly, but intentionally. And that changes your output. Because instead of scattering your energy across everything, you direct it into what actually moves your life forward. Now here comes another moment. Someone challenges you. Maybe they question your idea. Maybe they misunderstand you. Maybe they say something that would normally trigger you. Your instinct is still there. To defend. To react. To prove something. But you catch it. You pause. And in that pause, you ask yourself, is this worth my energy? If the answer is no, you let it go. No explanation. No argument. No emotional reaction. And something interesting happens. You don't feel weaker. You feel stronger. Because you didn't lose control of yourself in that moment. Marcus Aurelius said, confine yourself to the present. And this is what that looks like in real time. Not replaying what they said. Not imagining what you should have said. Just staying grounded, in the moment. And moving forward. Now let's talk about something that holds a lot of people back. The urge to announce. You start something new. A new goal. A new habit. A new direction. And immediately, there's a voice in your head saying, tell someone. Post it. Let people know. But this time, you do the opposite. You stay silent. You don't announce it. You don't explain it. You don't seek validation. You just start working. Quietly. Consistently. And this is where the shift begins. Because instead of spending energy talking about what you're going to do, you spend that energy actually doing it. Day after day. No applause. No attention. No external pressure. Just you, and the work. And over time, something builds. Confidence. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that needs to be seen. But the quiet kind. The kind that comes from knowing you're actually moving forward. Now here's another moment most people overlook. When chaos happens around you. Bad news. Drama. Conflict. Something that normally pulls you in emotionally. Before, you would react instantly. You'd get involved. You'd feel the weight of it. But now, you create space. You observe it, without immediately attaching to it. You remind yourself. Is this within my control? If it's not, you let it pass. If it is, you act calmly. Not emotionally. This is not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing how you respond to it. And that choice is everything. Because the more you practice this, the more you realize something powerful. Most things don't deserve your reaction. Most things don't need your words. Most things don't need your energy. And when you stop giving your energy away so freely, you start to have more of it. More focus. More clarity. More control. And this is where the real transformation begins. You start to notice patterns. You start to see what actually matters. You start to recognize distractions before they pull you in. And slowly, your life becomes simpler. Not easier. But clearer. You stop trying to do everything. You start doing what matters. You stop engaging with everyone. You start choosing your interactions. You stop explaining yourself constantly. You start letting your actions speak. And here's the paradox. The less you talk, the more people listen when you do. The less you react, the more powerful your actions become. The less you seek validation, the more confident you feel. Because you're no longer dependent on the outside world to confirm your direction. You know it for yourself. And that's something most people never reach. So now, I'm going to show you what happens when this becomes your lifestyle, how people begin to see you differently, how your results change. And why this quiet habit leads to a level of clarity and control most people spend their entire lives chasing. Stay with me, because this is where everything comes together. Now imagine this isn't something you try for one day, or even 1 week. But something you begin to live by. Quietly. Consistently. Without needing to tell anyone. This is where things start to change in ways you didn't expect. Not loud changes. Not dramatic shifts. But deep, undeniable ones. You wake up in the morning, and for the first time in a long time, your mind feels clear. Not because life is perfect. But because you're not starting your day with noise anymore. You already know what matters. You already know what needs your attention. And that alone removes a level of stress most people carry every single day. You move through your routine with intention. Not urgency. You're no longer trying to do everything. You're focused on doing the right things. And because of that, your results start to change. Not instantly. But steadily. You begin finishing what you start. You begin making real progress, not just appearing busy. At work. Or in your personal life, people start noticing something different about you. Not because you're trying to stand out. But because you're not behaving like everyone else. You're calmer. More grounded. Less reactive. You don't get pulled into every conversation. You don't engage in unnecessary drama. You don't feel the need to prove yourself in every moment. And because of that, when you do speak, people listen. Not because you're louder, but because your words carry weight. Because they're not constant. They're deliberate. They come from thought, not impulse. And that changes how people see you. But more importantly, it changes how you see yourself. You stop needing approval. Because your actions begin to validate you. You stop doubting your direction. Because you're consistently moving in it. You stop comparing yourself to others. Because you're focused on your own path. And that's when confidence becomes real. Not something you perform, but something you live. Now let's talk about your relationships, because this is where this habit becomes even more powerful. When you're with someone, you're actually with them. You're not distracted. You're not half listening while thinking about what to say next. You're present. And that presence is rare. People feel it. They feel heard. They feel understood. And without trying, your connections become stronger. Not because you're doing more, but because you're finally there, fully. Now think about your goals. Before, you might have talked about them often. Shared them. Explained them. Sought encouragement. But now, you build them in silence. You work on them without needing attention. And because of that, your energy stays intact. Your focus stays sharp. Your momentum doesn't get diluted. And when results finally show, they speak louder than anything you could have said. That's the shift. From talking to doing. From reacting to choosing. From seeking validation to building self-trust. And here's something important you need to understand. This doesn't mean life becomes easy. You'll still feel the urge to react. You'll still want to explain yourself. You'll still feel pulled toward distraction. But now, you're aware. And that awareness gives you a choice. Every single time. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And when you stay silent, when you stop reacting immediately, you start to see that clearly. You stop creating problems in your mind that don't actually exist. You stop feeding thoughts that don't serve you. You stop turning small situations into emotional chaos. And that alone brings a level of peace most people are constantly searching for. Now here's the deeper transformation. You begin to trust yourself. Not because someone told you to, but because you've proven it through your actions. You've shown yourself that you can stay focused. That you can control your reactions. That you can move forward, without needing constant reassurance. And that self-trust becomes your foundation. You don't need to announce your next move. You don't need to defend your current one. You don't need to explain your past. You just move. Quietly. Intentionally. And over time, that becomes your identity. Someone who doesn't chase attention, but commands respect. Someone who doesn't react to everything, but responds with control. Someone who doesn't need to be seen to know they're making progress. This is what it means to live with quiet strength. Not weakness. Not silence out of fear. But silence out of control. Out of clarity. Out of purpose. And once you reach this point, you start to realize something powerful. The world hasn't changed. People are still loud. Distractions are still everywhere. Noise is still constant. But you're no longer controlled by it. You've stepped out of the cycle most people never leave. And now, you're moving on your own terms. In the final part, I'm going to give you a simple challenge, something you can start immediately, to lock this habit in and begin seeing real change in your life faster than you expect. Stay with me, because this is where you make the decision. Now everything comes down to this moment. Because understanding this habit means nothing if you don't practice it. And the truth is, most people won't. They'll hear this, they'll agree with it, they'll feel motivated for a moment. And then they'll go right back to reacting. Right back to explaining. Right back to giving their energy away. Not because they're weak, but because they never made a decision. So now I'm going to give you something simple. Not easy, but simple. A challenge. For the next 7 days, focus on yourself. And stay silent. But don't just hear that, understand what it really means. For 7 days. When you wake up, don't touch your phone immediately. Sit in silence, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Ask yourself what actually matters today, and move from that. For 7 days. Notice how often you feel the urge to speak, to explain, to announce. And instead of acting on it, pause. Hold it. Let your actions replace your words. For 7 days. When something triggers you, don't react instantly. Give yourself space. Think. Choose your response, instead of being controlled by the moment. For 7 days. Stop seeking validation. Don't post for attention. Don't share for approval. Don't explain just to be understood. Just do the work. Quietly. And watch what happens. Watch how your mind starts to clear. Watch how your energy starts to return. Watch how your focus becomes sharper, stronger, more controlled. Because when you stop leaking energy, you start building power. And this is where most people get surprised. The change doesn't take months. It starts immediately. The moment you decide, something shifts inside you. You feel it. A sense of calm. A sense of control. A sense that for the first time in a while, you're not being pulled in every direction. You're choosing your direction. And as the days go on, that feeling grows. You become more disciplined. Not because you forced it, but because you removed what was distracting you. You become more confident. Not because you tried to be, but because you're proving things to yourself through action. You become more focused. Not because life got quieter, but because you stopped giving your attention to the noise. And this is the transformation most people are chasing, without realizing how simple the entry point is. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Not to create fear, but to create urgency. Because your time your attention, your energy. They're limited. And every moment you spend reacting to things that don't matter is a moment you don't get back. Epictetus said, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." That's the discipline. That's the standard. Not silence for the sake of silence, but silence with purpose. And when you live like that, everything changes. You stop chasing. You start building. You stop reacting. You start directing. You stop looking outward for answers, and start finding them within yourself. And that's where real power comes from. Not loud. Not flashy. Not constantly visible. But steady. Controlled. Unshakable. So here's what I want you to do right now. If you're serious about this, if you're ready to take control back, type in the comments, "I move in silence." Not to show anyone else, but to mark the moment you decided to change. And if this message spoke to you, if you felt something shift while listening, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because this is just the beginning. You're not here to be like everyone else. You're not here to react to everything. You're not here to live outside yourself. You're here to build something real. Something focused. Something intentional. Something yours. So for the next 7 days, focus on yourself. Stay silent. Let your actions speak. And watch how everything begins to change. This is Stoic quiet strength. Power in silence.